Hey peoples, how are we guys and girls? Back again for what is week 13, and this will be the last of the Whitefella Law, Wisdom of Our Elders, that both myself and our good luck charm up here, Dirrawong, have been bringing to you, as I said, for 13 weeks, almost 3 months. So, the final instalment is well, I like it. I think it's an interesting saying that I'd really like to touch on a certain aspect of it that I think most people overlook. Okay? So the saying is, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. Now, if saying a man offends you, too bad. That's the original way it was put to me years ago. If you don't like it, take out man, put in you. Early to bed, early to rise, makes you healthy, wealthy and wise. Okay? Now, the earliest record of this proverb in what we sort of recognise it as somewhat as today, in its written form, key there is written form, was in the Book of St Albans, which was printed in 1486, and it was in Old English, so it does sound a bit funny, but I can't really say it the way it's written. But basically, it says, "Whoso would rise early shall be holy, healthy, and zeally." Near enough. However, this baby goes back a long ways. In fact, the Greek philosopher Aristotle is known to have said, "It is well to be up before daybreak, for such habits contribute to wealth, health, and wisdom." So, waking up and rising early and consistently, you are able to accomplish more in the day. That's it in a nutshell. And that's pretty self-evident, really. This philosophy has been recommended actually since, as we said, Aristotle. So it's from antiquity. It's thousands of years old. Chances are, if they're thousands of years old, there's got to be something to it that we should be taking notice of. And this actual philosophy is actually having a bit of a resurgence these days and is recommended by quite a few personal development gurus, and is often listed and used as one of the base habits of the wealthy and successful. And we're talking about the billionaires and the millionaires and things like that. So it's one of the core habits of the most successful people is to start your day around 5 a.m. consistently. Okay? So if you look at this, let's face it, if you're not out partying most nights, which we've all tried to burn the candle at both ends when we were young and invincible, you know, could survive on virtually no sleep at times. So as such, this method of lifestyle that we've all tried, we've all had a crack at when we were young and lacked our experience and knowledge that we do today, this lifestyle cannot be maintained for any length of time and expect to remain healthy and to accomplish the things that we need to do and make sure that they're done. In fact, a lack of enough sleep, or in fact even oversleeping, can be factors that lead to poor mental and physical health. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. This does not mean that we shouldn't socialise. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't celebrate important dates, achievements, etc. It does imply that we should at least be very selective on the frequency of our celebrating. And as you would by now appreciate, I think all of these sayings and idioms remind us to be somewhat mindful of anything that we put on or in our sacred minds and our sacred bodies. and also how we treat ourselves in general. So we're also getting into a bit of self-care and a bit of self-love kind of thing now, aren't we, really, when you think about it? So if we're not out till all hours eating and drinking, and if you've got a bit of rhythm in your soul, dancing as well, the chances are you're not spending your hard-earned money on reckless habitual spending. Well, that's a fair call, really, because listen, I can assure you, I've been guilty of that one. And as such, if you're not out spending, the waste will be minimised, and that factor alone will increase your own personal wealth and your own personal health. So on another level, you'll find that you will have more time to dedicate yourself to achieving the important goals that you have for yourself. Okay? And this also, no doubt, would result in growing your own personal wealth. But the true nugget of deeper level wisdom that's found in this saying is actually related to quality sleep. Now, I have sleep apnea. Okay, so I can assure you, quality sleep, it's gold. It is absolutely gold. Okay, so sufficient sleep is very beneficial. Okay, again, on a personal level, I can assure you of that. A lot of people ignore the importance of having enough quality sleep. And I can assure you, as I said, the benefits, though, are priceless. A person that is well rested, of course, they're going to be more ready for the day. That's a given. But also, it does a lot of good to an individual's health and well-being to be well rested, because it is now influencing your circadian rhythms. The circadian cycle is a 24-hour cycle, and it's a natural time signal that your body is in tune with. The circadian pattern is the change, or is actually how your body is in tune with the change from light to dark, and then dark to light. Now, the brain actually senses the growing darkness, and it stimulates the production of a hormone called melatonin. Now, these cyclic fluctuations of melatonin are actually vital for maintaining normal circadian rhythm, and therefore normal health, which I'll explain as we go. Now, this response to the growing darkness is that melatonin production is increased, and as that increases, the body begins to prepare for sleep. Now, a part of the brain called the hypothalamus receives signals about light and dark from the retina of the eye. Now, that's all well and good when you're late afternoon and your eyes are open, but it actually works middle of the night when your eyes are closed and you're fast asleep. The retina detects light on the retina, even though your eyes are closed. And when that happens, that it begins to detect growing light, melatonin production is inhibited and the wakefulness state begins to ensue. These signals to the retina are then transferred to the pineal gland. These light signals are picked up even when asleep and eyes closed. Your body's an amazing thing. Like, it is technology beyond comprehension of us truly yet. We like to think we understand it all, but I'm sure we're still working things out. So it picks up the first light of the day. Now, when we say light of the day, we're not talking when that first ray of light goes over the horizon and you see the very tip of the sun. So what we call dawn. What it senses is the change from what, for want of a better term, let's say 100% darkness. So at 100% darkness for a few hours of the night, then all of a sudden, so if you can imagine the sun's, the earth's here and the sun's coming around, but even when it's here, this part of the earth is actually starting to change to a slightly lighter state. So it goes from 100% to 99 to 98, even though it's still dark outside, it is essentially 97, 96, 90, and your retina begins to sense this with eyes closed. And then modifies the melatonin production and begins to stimulate an epinephrine. It's an adrenaline. I'm very sorry I can't pronounce this. It's not common to me, this. I've done a lot of reading on it recently, but that's as good as it's going to get right now. So, this stimulation of the adrenaline starts about 2 hours before the dawn in what we call emerging light. So, to digress a little, if you think about it, sunset doesn't just happen, does it? It's not like a flick and a switch and you go, boom, all of a sudden the sun's down. It actually starts an hour and a half, probably the light begins to fade. And again, it may not be noticeable at the very start. It may start at 100% light, 99, 98. And you may not notice it till it's about 60% light. And then you look up and you think, oh, it's starting to get dark. And even once the sun is actually down behind the horizon, it's not 100% dark. You can still see it glow for another half an hour. So there is like a 2-hour window for the sun to actually go down. And there is a 2-hour window for the sun to rise. Now then, that's 4 hours. Just keep that in mind. All right. So this light and dark change, again, doesn't happen by flicking a switch. Now, when you go to sleep, you are wanting to get into deep restorative sleep. And just as you don't flick a switch and all of a sudden, the sun's up or the sun's down, when you start in sleep, you don't drop off and go straight into deep restorative sleep. You go to sleep and you work your way down into that sleep. Now then, this is where we get into the true gem, the true nugget of gold here, and quite literally is too, by the way. So just as when you're asleep, it takes time when you are asleep to get down into that deep restorative sleep. And in that deep restorative sleep, we secrete different hormones. Okay? What happens is during this deep sleep, our breathing rate and our blood pressure decrease. So we go into a super relaxed state. And we enter this sleep, what experts now call sleepwave sleep. Okay? And that's when our brain waves become slow and large. And this sleep phase is extremely important for both physical and emotional restoration. So you're going into a maintenance cycle. It's a simple way to put it. So during this deep sleep maintenance cycle, the body releases hormones for healing and growth, which aid in cell repair and healthy new cell growth in the tissues and organs that your body is aware of its needs. Okay? And it's also during that sleep that the immune system strengthens and renews itself. So, right there is the nugget with this saying. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, back to your sleep. A couple hours before you wake up, 2 hours before you start producing adrenaline to rouse you so that when you wake up, you're ready to be active. The opposite happens when you go to sleep. Because you have adrenaline type activation throughout the day, the melatonin must kick in over time. You then over time go down into this excellent sleep, the restorative sleep. So if you're still partying a lot and going to bed very late and you're getting up early for work, let's say, I used to start at 7 in the morning when I was working in a trade. So, I had to be up by at least 6 so I could be there within a reasonable time, at least get up at 6. So that means 4 o'clock. Well, actually, sorry, it's when it starts to detect light, not when I need to get out of bed. So in the middle of summer, when it's where we are, 5:30 is when the sun comes over the horizon. That's 3:30 that your body is starting to rouse and starting to stir. Now, if you went to bed at, let's say, 11, and you take 2 hours to get into the deep restorative sleep, so there's 1, and then at 3:30 you're starting to rouse, you only get 2 hours worth of restorative repair. Okay? Now, when you think of that, you will now understand why shift workers who are on a quick rotation and long hours, they actually have been studied and they have shorter lifespan than the average person who gets regular sleep and has the ability to have a nice chunk of sleep on a regular rhythm every day. So I know people, for example, that are on these 12-hour shifts, 4 days, and then have a quick turnaround to another 12 hours on a different shift for 4 days. Then they'll get 4 days off. Okay? And I can assure you, by the end of that second 4-day rotation, they don't know whether Arthur Martha coming or going. And then they have to get back into a sleep rhythm to start the next rotation in 4 days. And these people have actually been studied that they have shorter lifespans. Now you know why. So to suggest that it's only sleep, quality sleep and quality restorative sleep is priceless. So that's it from me. That was a long one today for our last one. I hope it was worth your while. I really do. So please remember, like, share, subscribe, all those sort of things. Share this with your friends if you think there's value in these nuggets. This is the end of season 1. That being said, I've got some ideas to keep going with Sargacious Sundays, and we'll have a slightly different topic. So I'm looking at doing something related to food, simple thoughts on food in the next session for season 2. So with that in mind, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from our good luck charm Dirawong. And I would like to say thank you very much for joining us for the past 13 weeks. Look forward to having another few weeks to just to wet your whistle and get you thinking about things. So, ciao for now, everyone. You have a good one. Bye.